In this video, I'm going to talk about the Gnome Software Center and why it's a very valuable tool for new users that are switching over to Linux. To start with, let's talk about what the Gnome Software Center is. I have a web page that I'm be referring to, and I explain what the Gnome Software Center, and this is kind of like an image of it. And here is what the Gnome Software Center looks like. The Gnome Software Center allows you to install software, it allows you to remove software, and it allows you to update. As you can see up here across the tab, you can select all the software, you can install software, or you can update your existing software on your computer. And this is very important because it's a graphical user interface or point and click type of method for installing your software, for uninstalling your software, and for updating your software. Now let me minimize my web page, and I'm going to bring it up. I've already installed it on the system, and I'm going to show you a little bit better way of organizing your software centers so that they'll all be in one location. The Software Center by default, when it's installed through the Software Boutique, is it's placed in the Application System Tools, and then you can see there down here it's software. They're in alphabetical order. If I click onto it, it immediately brings up the Gnome Software Center. Now here is all the software that you can find in the Software Center, and it's organized by categories. As you can see, here's the audio video, and it takes a moment to refresh all the icons, and as you can scroll through here, everything in this category is related to audio and video. Going back, here we have communication news, productivity, games, graphics, and add-ons. If I click on the graphics, a lot of people like working with graphics, modifying or editing images, scanning images. So all the software that you would find in this category is related to graphics and photography. They're all organized or can fall within these categories here at the top. As you can see here, the editors will pick out some of the most widely used or some of their favorite. And here's some recommended graphic applications because I was in the graphic category and I talked about how people love to edit and view photographs on the internet or take pictures and upload them to their computer. So that's a very popular thing for people. As you can see here, there's more that takes you into these categories, and then recommended audio and video. As you click on to more of these, it will recommend some of the best or most widely used applications within those type of categories that you click on. Now, to install something, and I'm not going to install a software, I'm just going to show you how you would. If I click onto this icon, here is the name of the software. There's the icon of the software, and that would be the icon that you would see that would be in your menu if you were to install it. And what this is a secure free password manager for all your devices. It's kind of like Seahorse if you've ever used that on your computer. As you can see here, it's stable software. There's the version of it. It tells you that it's free. And as with this one, there's no reviews. If there were any reviews, you could scroll down at the bottom and see the reviews of people. Now let me see if I can click on something and see the reviews, like with GIMP. That's very popular. GIMP's one of the imaging software manipulation programs that can be installed on other operating systems such as the Mac or the Windows operating system. As you can see here, it's stable, and I don't understand why there's no reviews at the bottom. It may be because I'm just clicking in the editor's pick, but if I were to actually go into the graphics and scroll down and choose GIMP, which, let's see, here it is at the top. As you can see, I have it installed. As you can scroll through here, you'll see little storage package bag that you get when you go to the store, and a check indicating that you've already installed that software package. If I click onto this image, as you can see, I already have it. There was an icon, it's not showing, or a picture, it's not showing now. I can launch the program, which I'm not going to do. I can also launch it through my graphics here, but I'm not going to because this is not a video about the GIMP program. I can remove it by the click of a button. One click and it completely removes. After I use my password, it will remove the program from my system. Now, as you can see, I guess it was because I was in the categories of what they recommend. Here's the actual reviews. It's 5-star reviews out of 1,340 people that reviewed it. For some reason, it's not pulling in the screenshot. Occasionally it will, sometimes it won't. Here's the version that's currently, and you can go to the website license is free, and as you can see, you can look at the number of people that's reviewed it. If you'd like to know whether it's good or bad or how it works with the operating system that you're using, you can read this, kind of like shopping on Amazon. However, unlike Amazon, when you install this, since it's open source, it will be free, and you can donate to the developers by going to the website if you choose to. Alright, going back to the home screen. As you can see, let me go back to the home screen one more time because I was originally here and then I went back up here. On the home screen, you can see this is the All tab. The next thing is what I want to focus on. It's the Install button, Installed button. When I click on Installed, this kind of like, it took a little while to load before it brought up the Software Center on my computer. And the reason it did is it scanned my computer and it located all the software that I have installed on my computer. So if you scroll down through it, I have a lot of software. I have a lot. So I'm not going to scroll all the way to the bottom. But if you were to scroll all the way to the bottom, you could see that I have a lot. And to remove something, I just simply click on the remove button. It will prompt me to enter my password. Well, it will ask me, are you sure you want to remove it? And then if I say yes, I do, it will prompt me to put my password, and it will go through and remove the program for you. It's just a one-click way of removing, and it's in alphabetical order. So if you've got something that starts with S, you simply drag it down to the S, locate your software, and if you would like to remove it, click remove, choose yes, you want to remove it, and put your password in. So if you're coming from Windows environment, this is the closest thing to an add remove programs that you have in Windows. Now in Linux, there's all types of software centers, and the software boutique that comes pre-installed with Ubuntu MATE is excellent. It has wonderful software that the developers picked that works great with Ubuntu MATE, and I'm not criticizing that. That's a completely different software center. It's like walking out of Walmart going into Target. Both places sell great items, but they look completely different. So this software center does things that the other one can't. The other one does things that this one can't. But it's a way that you can install programs on your system, and it's a way that you can uninstall, like the add remove programs. And one other feature I want to emphasize is the updates. If you haven't updated your system in a while, you click on updates, and if there's any updates that needs to be updated on your computer, you can update it through the Gnome Software Center. So this is a kind of a must-have utility for new users that are coming from Microsoft Windows. Now I'm going to close this out for a moment. Now as you see here, I showed you earlier that it's listed in the software and tools. Now if you notice something, when I click on the systems and go to administration, I've already installed AppGrid, which is another type of software center that you can search by category. You can sort it. You can actually search for the name if you know the name of the software. Let's say for example I wanted to install Audacious. If I click here, it will bring up a picture of what Audacious is. Listen to music. It tells you the reviews of it. You can look at the most current reviews at the top. And then it's a one-click install. And I'll go ahead and click install. It's a one-click install. But I'm going to cancel out. Well, I'll let it do its little thing since it's small. It's a one-click software installer. And when it finishes, it will give you the option to launch the program. And I'll wait just a moment, kind of comparing the software center to the AppGrid. This is something nice too. But I installed AppGrid. What it's installing, I'm going to minimize it. The reason I stuck it on there is but I want to show you that AppGrid, which is a software center, when it's installed by default, is placed into the Systems menu under the Administration subfolder. There's the AppGrid. And if you noticed, Ubuntu MATE, they've installed their own software boutique that allows you to install software in the Systems menu under the Administration. And within the software boutique, it allows you to install the Synaptics Package Manager and the software, which is the Gnome Software Center. However, it places the Gnome Software Center in your system tools, whereas it places the Synaptics Package Manager in the administration or system administration subfolder. So for someone that's switching over from Windows into Linux, it would be a good idea to organize all your software centers in one location so you don't have to remember where they were at. Because when you're switching over from one operating system to another, it's starts out, it can be a little intimidating, and then trying to remember where everything at can sometimes become overwhelming. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can not really delete, but take the Software Center from the system tools and place it in the administration in alphabetical order so that your software centers are all located in the same location, so that you have the choice of choosing App Grid, you have the choice of choosing the Software Boutique, or you have the choice of choosing the Synaptic Package Manager, and then once we finish, you have the choice of choosing the software or the Gnome Software Center, also referred to as software. Now let me close out the App Grid. Even if it's not it's finished, I can launch it from here. Since it's the first time ever been launched, there's no default. I can go through and change that around, but that's not what this video is about. As you can see here, it placed it in my sound. Audacious is what I installed, so there it is. Alright, let me go to System, Administration, and I'm going to go to the Software Boutique. Because if you just installed Ubuntu MATE 18.04, by default it installs the welcome screen and the Software Boutique. And if you've upgraded from an earlier version of Ubuntu MATE, your welcome screen and Software Boutique may not appear in your menu. You have to install it. And on my website, and if you're watching this on YouTube, you can click the link below the video, and it will take you to the website that will illustrate the steps on installing the Software Boutique and the welcome screen on your upgraded version of Ubuntu MATE 18.04. If you look across the top, there is an icon that represents the More Software section. Now for time's sake, I've already installed both the software, which is the Gnome Software Center, and I've installed the Synaptic Package Manager. I like both of them. The Synaptic Package Manager has a lot of software that you can keep from getting and using Google and searching. You can search within the Synaptic Package Manager and install it. But let me show you, for a newcomer, it can be a little intimidating, and I'll show you why. You have to put your password in when you click on it, because it won't allow you to install software to the system unless you are the administrator. Alright, when the Gnome Software Center pops up, it takes a moment and it loads. As you can see, I can click on the installed section and it shows everything that's installed on the computer, but notice how it organizes the installed software. It labels it like ACPID, ACL, APT, which is a command. A lot of these are commands. So since it mixes the commands in with the software, you might accidentally think you're clicking or removing the application you want to delete, and you actually remove the wrong one. And I know it gives you a little brief description over here, and sometimes the little description can say that it's a GTK front end. Sometimes that can be intimidating to a new user. So this is really a Synaptic Package Manager for installing and removing software, which to remove something, you click onto it, mark for removal or complete removal, hit apply, and it will take the software off. But again, for a new user, that can be intimidating, especially since it gives you the package by the command that you would use in the terminal. For someone switching over from Windows, as you remember when I showed you the software, if you click on the installed, it has the icon as it appears in the menu and the name, so that when you remove it, it's very similar to the way that you removed software in Windows. Now I can launch it from here. I don't want to launch it. I want to put the software into System and Administration. So if you were just loading Ubuntu MATE 18.04, you would simply click onto this icon, and you can go through the boutique and click on and find the software that you want, install it. You can click on like here and say I want to install ambient noise. It's not going to immediately install it as you click install, because it would take a while to go through and install. You can find all the software you want and click install, and just like shopping at Amazon, when you click on something to buy it, it don't purchase every time you click on to buy something. It stores it in your shopping cart. So when you're finished, you click on the cart, and then you can apply your changes, which will install everything at one time. So if you don't have time to install a lot of software, then you can come back later and it's in your cart that you can apply it. But here you would click install, whereas mine says launch, and install for the Synaptic Package Manager. But we're going to put the software in the same location that it installed the Synaptic Package Manager. So I'm going to close the Software Boutique for now. To place it in the System Administration folder, you're going to right-click on the System menu. You're going to choose Edit Menus. When the Edit Menus dialog box or Main Menu dialog box appears, you're going to see the menus listed on the left-hand side. As you can see, Application and System are your applications and system menus that you have across the top. If you are in the traditional view within the MATE Tweak tool. In this, I like using the traditional because if you're a new user and you're looking on the internet for help, the older versions of Ubuntu MATE use this menu system, and if it shows you to go to System and through a menu and you've changed it to the brisk menu or one of the other menus, you might not know how to find it within that, and it can become overwhelming and you'll go back to Windows. So I'd like to keep it where when you look up things it stays consistent, because consistency allows you to learn better. When you learn better, you're in that comfort zone and you'll want to continue using Ubuntu MATE. But as you can see, Applications is one of the submenus or one of the menus, and the System menu is the other one. You might say, well, why is Places not up here? Well, Places actually are not software installed. It's actually locations that are on your computer, like your desktop, your home folder, your network, your computer. These are locations, so it's not software. So to start with, you want to place the icon of software, which is your Gnome Software Center, in this location. So you're going to go under System Administration. So you're going to go under System and you're going to click Administration. Now if you look here, every one of these that are shown, you can hide something by unchecking the checkbox and it will no longer show up in your menu. You don't have to delete it. You can, but if you would later want to review that or view it in the menu, then you can check it. Now the reason some of these are unchecked is because they're in other locations, so that it won't become redundant or multiple times throughout the menus. As you go over to Places, you can see here there's Network. So there's no need to show Network in your System Administration. That's why I don't want to put software here and leave the original software icon here. We can uncheck that after we place it here so that it's not showing up in the System tools as well as Administration. It's just in one location. Now as you can see, I already have the software here. Now I will delete it so I can show you how to place it in this location. So when you go to Administration, see it's no longer there. I've took it off. I've deleted it. Alright, to add this, you're going to click the button New Item. When the New Item dialog box, which is a Create Launcher dialog box, appears on your screen, this is where you can name what you see in the menu. And since when they installed it, the name of it was Software, we're going to stay consistent with that name. We're going to name it Software. Now if you do change the name, it will not keep it from being executed. This is the name that appears in the menu. However, the command, which is gnome-software, and it's very important that you keep all the letters in lowercase letters. It has to be written this way. This is just like the command that you would execute if you were to open up the terminal, and I know a lot of newcomers are afraid of the terminal. But the terminal is the way that Linux really works. You know, you enter in commands. This is the GUI, the graphical user interface, so that when you go down to System Tools and you click Software, all that is doing is running that command Gnome Software. So I copied that and I'm going to test and see if that works. I'm pasting it in your terminal and I press the Enter key. It takes a moment, and as you can see loading up in the background, the Gnome Software Center loaded up. So that tells me what I wrote into that section. I'm going to close that. What I wrote into that command section, when I click on it, it will execute and bring up the Gnome Software. If I misspelled something or I used a capital letter, then the Gnome Software would not open up. Let me go and do this to show you to prove a point. If I were to come over here and backspace and put a capital G, it's spelled the same. There's no spelling errors. But when I come and copy this, I copy, I place it back in the terminal, and I paste. When I press the Enter key or the Return key, it's going to say command Gnome Software is not found. Did you mean? And it will tell you that I probably meant to put Gnome Software. And I like the recommendations. If I don't have install, I can say sudo apt install, and I can put the word Gnome Software by copying that here, and it would install the Gnome Software through using the terminal. So as you can see, the capital G, even though spelled correctly, will not execute your Gnome Software Center. So I have to go in there and remove the capital G and put the lowercase g. Now notice as I started typing, it placed a random icon. We don't want that random icon to appear in our menu. We want to be consistent with what was installed when we originally installed it, with the little shopping cart with the little blue logo on it. So we want that to be placed here. Now the easiest way to do that, we can go into our icons and scroll through a ton of icons and locate it. But the easiest way to do that is I've already found it, and I put it on my website. That you scroll down and you see the little icon here. You can right click. But before we save it, I want to show you one other thing for new users. When you become a new user and you have these default folders, when you save pictures on the internet, like you can see here, I've taken some screenshots and I organized them in a folder called screenshots. By default, they would probably be placed on the desktop, and most people probably change it into just pictures, and all their screenshots get placed in the picture folder. And over a period of time, if you save a lot of wallpapers on the internet, they get placed in the same folder that your screenshot. And any other image that you save on the internet, or if you upload your photos from your camera, that becomes like a hodgepodge of images that you have to scroll through and locate, and that can take time. So if when you install Ubuntu MATE, if you organize your images by what they are, then you can stay organized. Now, as you can see here, I've already got the icon into that folder, but to show you how, I'm going to delete it. I'm going to say move to trash, and I'll empty my trash can. Alright, if you're wanting to organize and download that image from my web page, you right click, say create a folder, call this folder icons, and press the return key or the enter key. Double click to open that. Now you can go back to my website, right click on the image, save image as. Now when you go to the pictures, you can double click on your icons. Now I'm in the folder of my name, the picture folder, pictures folder, and the icons folder. I'll save it with this name, the Gnome Software icon with high color. I'm going to hit save. Now if I go back, and I'm going to hit show all and delete that there so it won't keep showing up at the bottom. But if I go back into my folder, my icons folder, there is my icon that we're going to place in the menu. So to do that, I click on this button here in my create launcher. It's pressable. Now here are all the animations. I can go back to icons, and as you can see here, there's a lot of icons to choose from. It take a long time to locate that particular picture. So if I go back to my picture folder, double click my icons, there's my icon, and I named it so that it will be easy to locate by the name. I know it's the Gnome Software icon. So I hit open, and when I do it, immediately places that icon into this location. So when I press OK, I'm almost done. It's now in this list of items. So when I go over here to system, I haven't hit close yet, but if I would, it would be placed here, but it would be at the bottom. It's not in alphabetical order like the others are. So to place it in alphabetical order, I select the software that I want to move, and I can keep pressing the move up, or I can move it down. But in this case, I'm going to move it up to where it's in alphabetical order. Now here would actually be alphabetical order. If that's ever viewable, that's SH and this is SO, and since that has a word afterwards, it's now in correct alphabetical order. So when I close this, I now have my software, which is my Gnome Software Center, installed in the same location as my other software centers, such as AppGrid software, the Gnome Software Center, my Software Boutique, my Synaptic Package Managers. All of my software centers are now organized in my administration in one location, and this helps new users keep all their software. And if I click on it to show you that it works, it will actually load the Gnome Software Center just as it did with the other icon, or the way that I executed it through the terminal. I'm going to close this out. Now the next thing I'm going to do is, we don't want the software icons to be redundant. We have one here and we have one here. So to keep this one, we're not going to delete it. We might someday want to put it back in this location, or some reason in the future when you get an update it might need to be there instead of breaking an update. We're going to edit the menus the same way we did a while ago. We right click on it, edit menus, and it brings back up your main menu. This time we want to work with what's in System Tools. We're going to click on the System Tools folder, and over here on the right hand side, if we scroll down, we see Software. Remember, I can delete it, but we don't want to remove it. So I'm going to uncheck or untick the software icon and the item name, and then I'm going to close. And when I go back to my applications and go to System Tools, my software is no longer in my System Tools. Even though it can be considered a System Tool, since you can add and remove files and you can update files. But since it's really classified as a software center, this is where your software centers typically get installed, was within the administration folder. It keeps them nicely organized in the same location. Now again, let me show you one last time why it's very important for a new user to want to use the Gnome Software Center. Again, you've got the ability to go through and choose to add the software that you want. You can look at the software that you have installed, but again, like if, for example, games. If I click on games, it has some featured games across the top. If you scroll through here, I do have some games installed. They'll be, as you can see, I've got this one installed, the Gnome MATE game. I'm not much of a player. I have Steam, I have Neverball. Some of the things that I have installed, you can see the Solitaire group of games is installed. You have that little package with the check mark. So as you're scrolling through, you'll know whether or not the software is installed on your computer or not by looking at the icon. If you want to look at all the installed files, you can click here, and it will show every software package that's installed on your computer, and it allows you one place location for removing. And it's very easy to understand what you're removing by, you can look at the icon name, which is what you see in the menu. You can see the actual name, a description that's not written almost in like code language like the GTK stuff. It's written in simple English that you can understand what that software is, whether or not you want to remove it. And sometimes you might start to run out of hard drive space. On most of these, it tells you how big the file is, so that if you want to remove it, you'll know how much space you'll be saving. And finally, again, the update feature. It allows you one place to add, remove, and update the softwares that's on your system. So in this video, hopefully for newcomers, I tried to help you understand why you need to organize your software centers in one location to make it easy to locate, and why it's important. The Gnome Software Center is it gives a easy user interface for installing, removing, and updating your software. Now, AppGrid was very easy on installing software and for searching software, but as you can see through here, you can sort, you can say what's installed, very similar, but the user interface of what's installed, you have to kind of go through, and it's more in a grid, and that's the name AppGrid, whereas the other one scrolls through. So it's what you like on the appearance. So AppGrid will work very similar to your Gnome Software Center. It's just the Gnome Software Center has the little scroll bars, which most people are familiar with, other than the grid look. You know, whatever your personal preference is. Hopefully this video has helped you or helped someone that is new, or even someone that's been using Linux for a while and thought, hey, it's pretty neat that you can organize things on your computer. So in this video, I've not only shown you the Gnome Software Center, I've showed you how you can edit things to place them and to rearrange them in your menu, so that if you think something that's in one category, you can actually go to another place and put it in a other location, and then untick it by editing your menus. So in this video, I've covered a lot of material, so I apologize for it being long, but hopefully it has helped someone. Take care.